Welcome back, everyone, for episode 13 of the Therapy Sessions podcast. And we're back here in front of you this week, this evening, after a bummer of a loss. It was a hard-fought battle. They hung tough. They came back and really showed that they can compete with the Packers, but ended up being a 28-21 loss in Lambeau Field. Chris, this was a loaded game, had a little bit of everything, lots of emotions, high and low. What do you got for me?
Lucky it's not college football. How much football did you watch this weekend?
A decent amount, not a ton, but just enough. It's never
Did you
enough,
watch
though.
the Big Ten championship game?
I did not. I tuned in bits and pieces, but that was a hell of a win by Indiana.
I watched that game, really enjoying it. My boss's boss is like a huge Indiana fan, and how cool. I keep telling him to enjoy it, but there's nothing cooler in sports or being a sports fan is following a bad team and sticking with them and being with them on the way up, right? And to think of a guy like that, an Indiana football fan, right? You complain about being a Bear fan or whatever. We're talking Indiana football, right? Never done anything ever. I remember sitting with this guy. Hold on, can you hear my dog barking?
Yeah, but that's okay. His name's Walter, so he's allowed to.
Yeah. Oh, he's terrible. I would sit with Kevin. What's up, Kevin? He listens to the show in meetings like 3 years ago, and I would catch him looking at like IndianaRivals.com message boards of them recruiting pages and things like that. And that was for
Love
like
it.
a 3-9 team. And for to experience them getting good through him has been so much fun. He got to go to the Big Ten championship team and see his team beat freaking Ohio State. There's nothing cooler in the world. He's walking around the office today just saying Hoosiers to people. He's spamming it in Teams calls, right? And it is the glory and the best part about sports. And it's why I think there's a romantic thing about rooting for like bad teams is how much better it is when they get good. This bear season and this football season has been so much fun. And Sunday was really an emotionally exhausting day. It's emotional all week, man. It's the Packers. It's Packer week. I hate when we play the Packers, Nick. They never win. I know so many people that are Packer fans, but also it's just around town, man. Everybody knows. So it's the mailman, it's the crossing guard at school, it's the security guard at preschool. You know, everybody wants to talk about the Packer week, Packer week. So I did. I let it happen.
Let it
And
wash over you.
you, I did. That's what I kept saying. And you know, you and I were pretty much in lockstep in the first half of that game where we were out. I was like, dude, this is a schedule loss. They have no shot. Get out healthy. I think, and normally when I start doing that, the pity party stuff, you start slapping me around, but you were,
Right,
you,
right.
you
I was
weren't
joining you
fighting
there.
it.
No, I wasn't. I was rolling with it this time because I've seen the movie before, what happened during that first half.
Yes.
And I was
Yes.
ready
The
to move
movie.
on. I was ready to move on to next week and just stay healthy because it's not the end of the world. You're still
Not
9-4.
college football.
It's not college football where it
This
knocks you
loss
out of
isn't
the
going to knock you out. Yeah.
right. So it's not a big deal. And honestly, we'll get to it, but we hung tough and we actually made it a game at the end.
And when you say it's not a big deal, this is where I came away so impressed by our Chicago Bears. Is that this game really hasn't been a big deal in a long time.
Right.
It's been a big deal a handful of times over like the last 15 years. That was one of the more intense, physical, and violent football games, regular season, that you may ever freaking see. It was probably one of the best NFL games of the year. And I remember thinking that towards the end of it and seeing it echoed on like Twitter through like national writers. That game was an extremely physically demanding game on both sides. Both sides played with a real edge and intensity. It was a playoff game, Nick. That was the most
Right.
physically intense Bear game I can really think of since the Eagles double doink. And this is a good
Yeah.
thing for that team. Those Packer teams have been through wars. It's a completely built out, maxed out roster.
Yep.
The Bears have 22-year-olds throwing to 21-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
That's an incredible developmental exercise. And guess what? You played them twice this year in Lambeau and you split it. I
Yeah.
think right now the Packers are probably the best team in the NFL. I thought it earlier in the season. They went through like a weird lull. Jordan Love is playing really, really, really well, and Micah Parsons is the best non. What? No.
Well, Jordan Love is playing well right now, but Jordan Love plays well in bunches and in stretches. He does
Yes.
not play consistently. To me, at this point, he's a higher performing Jay Cutler, and that's going to piss a lot of our Packers fans off. But he's inconsistent. He's got that gunslinger mentality. He throws a great deep ball, but he is still inconsistent. But I will give them credit. He is playing well during this 3 or 4 game stretch.
There is some Cutler in his game,
Yes.
which is the inconsistency. He always throws one
Yep.
to you.
Yep.
It's more of a Favre. It's almost like a Favre.
Yeah. It is. It is similar to Favre. Yeah.
The best two teams in the NFC, just on paper, are Philly and Green Bay, and you had to split it, and you did. And in the game you lost on the last play of the game in Lambeau in a 7-degree weather. That last play of the game, did you recognize it, Nick?
Yeah, it was the same play that they scored on last week, the boot rollout left that we talked about on last week's pod where they hit Cole Kmet. And I want to talk about, when we get into our breakdowns and our unit grades, I do want to talk about that play, and I want to talk about some of the ways that those routes were run.
I'm excited to do that. I have feelings about it. But from a big picture, this is awesome, man. How freaking awesome is it that the Bears are on at 3:30 with Tom Brady toe-to-toe in Lambeau Field against the Green Bay Packers? The entire country is watching, and they are playing a physical, incredible expression of the game of American football against the Green Bay Packers.
And
I loved it. It was a great time.
It was awesome. And not only that, you have the top broadcast team from Fox. You have Tom Brady, Kevin Burkhardt, who I think do an awesome job. Tom Brady's really grown into that role. We'll get into
He's very good.
Some broadcasting analysis here. But he has become awesome to listen to, and he's actually speaking effusively about a Bears quarterback and a Bears play caller and a Bears coach. When's the last time we heard that? All three of those things in concert. Maybe never in our lifetimes, Chris. So to hear that was really cool. And not only that, but to hear them, Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady saying, wow, what a game this is. How impressive is this that they're going toe-to-toe with them. And just how excited they were in those final 5-6 minutes of the game.
There was an edge to both teams. The Packers came out with it, and I do think some of it was that was being talked between like Ben Johnson and LaFleur. They took it personally. You gave them bulletin board, but Kyle Monungai ran through Edgerrin Cooper's face and took
his helmet,
a piece of his helmet,
broke his helmet, almost knocked him out of the game.
A regular season game, right?
Yeah,
with playoff edge.
Awesome.
It felt like one of those Steelers Bengals games where everybody walked away like with CTE. More of that, please.
Right.
But
awesome.
So before we get into the units, what are you drinking, Nick?
Yeah. So shout out to Penrose, our sponsor. I have the Penrose Pilsner, which is delicious.
Oh, I told you.
Chris had that last week. It's you can just see that beautiful color, that golden color. It's super crisp. Everyone check them out. PenroseBrewing.com. Check them out at their tap room in Geneva, Illinois, and find them really anywhere you can get your craft beer. Jewel, Binny's, all those places. What are you drinking, Chris?
Well, I went with the old standby Goofy Boots, and the reasoning behind it, everything I do has meaning, Nick, is because this beer I think I've enjoyed during 16 Packer losses at this point. I lived here 9 years now. So it really is the old standard, but it's as far as a widespread hazy, it's the best you're going to find. So if you're at the grocery store, kind of no matter which one you're at, they got it. Look for that big red can. Thank you, Penrose.
Cheers. Okay.
Quarterbacks.
Yeah, let's get into quarterbacks. So, yeah, it was a interesting game for Caleb. The stats weren't great, but there were some absolutely ridiculous throws that he made to keep the team in it and to ultimately tie the game at 21, which was, I think, at about the 8 or 7 minute mark in the fourth quarter.
Midway through the fourth quarter, yeah.
Yeah, so you're seeing again that clutch factor and that clutch gene. I'm going to give him a B plus despite the numbers because he was a big reason that you were still in it at the very end. He threw 2 touchdowns. He had 1 pick. He threw for 186 yards, only took 1 sack, a little bit below average QBR. Same with the rating and completion percentage, not where you want it to be. But again, him willing the team down the field in the fourth quarter, really the whole second half, some of those lasers he threw, the 1-2 for the first touchdown. I mean, that was a throwing window about the size of my iPhone here. What do you have?
It's one of my favorite Caleb games. It's somewhat reminiscent of the Detroit game last year, except they didn't get their coach a mutiny after the game and then have him marched out to give his own remarks before being fired and being humiliated and then spiraling the franchise into hell. But it was similar in that it was a somewhat ineffective first half, followed by a 3 touchdown second half, almost night and day. Um, he was he had 4 or 5 freak show plays in that game that give you a tantalizing view of the ceiling of this player. After the Ravens game, which was the last loss we did, I said that I didn't think that the higher outcome, maybe the higher 25% of his bell curve outcomes in his rookie contract is available to him. And I might have been wrong about that. And he is able to do unique things that almost no one in the league can do. Um, Caleb has 5 runs over 20 miles an hour as a quarterback, and in
Crazy.
the entire league is at 4. So he's arguably the fastest quarterback in the league. And he doesn't really look it just because of maybe his clothing styles or his maca tees and his fingernails or whatever, but he is a freak athlete. And the way they weaponize him on the moving pockets on the boots is really cool. Tom Brady said something really interesting in the game. And we talked about why they're not better on scramble drill. Doesn't make
Yes.
sense, right?
No.
Brady said he's so violently athletic that when he escapes these pockets, they're not anticipating it, or he's doing it a hair quicker than even they think, and they're not ready to like unstick or break off, which is interesting. Because a lot of these plays he makes out of structure end up being a foot off of the sideline. So when the Bears were not able to just drop back Caleb 5 steps, 7 steps, read out of defense to protect him. The entire second half was nothing but boots, play action, and heavy packages. So max protection things, right? Parsons said it at the end of the game. He said all they did was boot. I couldn't catch him. He's running all over. Right? He was visibly frustrated. And Caleb doing that kind of stuff was dominant, right? Because they can't catch him. They get frustrated. And the other thing is that his arm, you combine his speed with this guy has, right with Josh Allen, the 1 or 2, maybe 3 best arms in the league. And he's cutting through wind, 30-mile-an-hour wind and 7-degree temperatures in a way that actually Love is not like a big freak show arm guy. Like those passes thrown against us downfield were hanging in the air.
Right.
Caleb's cutting through the wind and that stuff. I would give him a B plus. They lost the game on that last play. Talk about it. The
Yeah.
reason that play works and is unique is Caleb's a right-handed quarterback, and he's rolling out to his left and delivering these throws. Nobody tries that because it's almost impossible. You have to have a
Right.
freak show arm. He
Yep.
got away with it 2 weeks ago. If he gets rid of the ball a second earlier, it's a touchdown. And then you go for 2, who knows what happens. I think it's a learning thing, but also I respect the balls to go for the kill shot because it was
Yep.
there. It was the right call. If you actually watch it from other angles, Komet's like wide open. again, 22-year-old quarterback, 21-year-old receivers. For him to play that way and to get them off the mat and to elevate the program and belief around him in that stadium is a big deal. He's 1-1 there, man. He already won there this year. But I was pretty proud of him. I think my
Yep.
dad was texting me. Is you could see it. Is look at his jersey at the end of that game.
Oh yeah. Had turf all over it.
Right? Is some of the stuff he does and the persona stuff you question, like leading a locker room of men and fathers and stuff. The pink lip gloss, the pink phone, uh, right? Some of the pants he wears, right? But
Yep.
that's the stuff that that garners belief. Caleb Williams,
Oh,
B
absolutely.
plus. Running backs,
Running backs were solid. They really got the running game going in the second half. First half was
yeah,
rough. They really didn't even try to run the ball that much in the first half. DeAndre Swift had 63 yards, 4.8 per carry.
yeah.
Monungai had 57 for 4.1.
That's where you want to
Both
be.
with that's exactly it. They both ran hard.
Longs of 8 and 9.
Yeah,
So they're just getting 6
churning.
yards on every play.
They're just churning it.
Yeah.
So they were great. They really wore that Packers defense down in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. And they were converting all kinds of third and short, third and mid range in the run game. So that was big. I got to give them a B plus, almost even A minus.
Part of the reason Caleb was so much more effective in the second half was because the running game cranked it up and the Bears were in favorable third and shorts, and they were not in that in the first half. When you're 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, because your running back is cranked up, now you can run boot, now you can run play action. So that really, the play that and we talked about it earlier, but Monungai going straight up with Edrin Cooper, who's one of the premier young linebackers in the league, and taking away a piece of his helmet. That's something that sticks. I saw an awesome stat, and I can't remember the exact specifics of it, and I was looking it up on the toilet earlier for the show.
Toilet
But
prep.
the week after teams have played the Bears, they're like 3-14, and they're getting manhandled. And so that's something that comes from college football called the body blow theory. And it's something that manifests itself heavily when teams would play service academies and when teams would play like triple option teams and like Georgia, right? So teams that go up against teams that run the ball like a lot play worse the next week because they're beat. And the Bears have actually done that quite a bit this year where they're going out. So I don't know what's going on in Monday Night Football. Please don't tell me. Have you watched the game?
I'm gonna tell you right now.
No, come on.
I'm
gonna
messing
watch-
with you.
but after-
I'm messing with you.
This year it's borne out that teams after the week after they play the Bears are beat up and they've been losing. Now you can argue it's because they've had a soft schedule, but that's evening out. The Bears inflicted body blows on the Packers in the first half. Running games don't always matter of getting yardage. What matter the attempts, and what
Right.
matters is the punishment you inflict on a defense. They did that, and that's why there was yardage to be found in the third, fourth quarters. Running games travel. I talked about it, right? You're on the road in these two environments. That's something you can hang your hat on. Those two guys ran hard. I'll give them a B plus.
Yeah, no, and just jumping in really quick to your point about body blows and about that theory about teams being worn down after playing the Bears or teams like that. That is exactly what happened last year with the Detroit Lions. Teams who played the Lions were losing like on a disproportionate scale after playing the Lions. And what's the commonality there, Chris, between the Lions and the Bears? Ben Johnson, same play caller, same guy in charge of the running game. And so, he took what he learned last year. He's applying it here. And so, I think it's a great point. Receivers.
Nick, do you know who the lowest graded player by PFF was in this game on the Bears offense by far? Can you guess?
I'm going to guess it's a receiver. DJ Moore.
DJ Moore. This is going to become DJ Moore is not going to be on this team next year. I was sitting in meetings today going through the Bears cap situation for 2026 by the second hour of a particularly long meeting. DJ Moore was going to be traded in the offseason. You can't cut him, but if you trade him, you save $20 million. He will either be part of a bigger trade to get a defensive lineman in here. So put a pin in this if you can clip it, but just pay special attention to the Tennessee Titans. They have a really good defensive lineman that you could really use, Jeffrey Simmons, and they need targets for a young quarterback. That's a thing where you could toss in a first-round pick in DJ Moore for like Justin Simmons and something like that. He's not going to be on this team next year. Burden was the number one receiver yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's 21 years old.
He played well. Yeah.
DJ is, there's weird stuff. It was happening last year. It's happening again this year, like body language on the field. He's not a detailed player. He's not running routes. And all of his production's coming off like gadget plays.
Great point. I just want to jump in really quick about not being a detailed player, not really running the route. If you look at him, one thing that's kind of driving me crazy is all these clips, all these Monday morning clips about that last play and should Caleb have thrown it to DJ? DJ was open. DJ was open. He's half speed, and he's not crisply running his route. You can just tell he's wandering. He's doing what you call the Travis Kelce route running, where he's just kind of wandering, looking. He's like an amoeba looking for some random opening. If you actually, the guy who covered Komet, Keshawn Nixon, is the one who was supposed to be. He was assigned to DJ Moore, but he didn't have to. He fell off. He didn't have to worry about DJ Moore because DJ wasn't doing anything. He was just kind of lollygagging it. And it was really frustrating because he didn't come clear. If you really slow down the tape, DJ did not come clear until the ball had already released from Caleb's hands. He was not an option there because of the way he ran the route.
He's the highest paid player in the team, and they've extended him twice, and they borrowed against his contract, so they can't cut him. I don't know what value. He is going to have to be a pure salary dump. He does represent value to a team with a young quarterback. He's particularly good on bad teams with young quarterbacks that need to force the ball to one guy, right? Like I think he's going to be on the Titans next year. Cam Ward will be in his second year. They desperately need a receiver.
Yeah,
he's not going to be on the team next year, man. In a game where Rome Odunze goes out, and you can actually see how much volume he was taking in that passing game. Nick, do you know who replaced him at X?
Is it Luther?
No.
DJ?
It was Loveland.
Oh, really? That's pretty cool.
But your X is considered your like number one, your alpha guy. It was Loveland. Your passing game ran through two guys yesterday. It ran through Loveland and it ran through Burden. They're both 21 years old. That's incredibly bright for the future, but you can't be paying $29 million to a gadget player. You hope he does better and he's more of a leader of that kind of stuff. But I just would be very surprised if he's on the team next year. If we get to Burden was the Bears' highest graded, by far the highest graded player they had was Tooney at 93, which is maybe the highest grade I've seen a Bear post all year. A 93 score is near perfect elite.
Wow.
Luther Burden scores 77, which is the second highest offensive score on the team. He's going to be a really good player. He's already actually grading as like the 23rd best receiver in the NFL out of like 150 qualifying guys.
What I love about Burden is every time he gets the ball, he's always pushing and dragging the pile for like 3 to 5 extra yards.
Burden is the 26th receiver in the NFL out of 134. You know what Moore is?
Jeez.
Moore's 73rd.
Wow. Yeah, and you know what? To your point, just looking at DJ Moore's box score, it's really a damning stat line. One catch for -4 yards and only 3 targets. Like why? He really must not be running his routes that well if he's not being targeted.
50 snaps for DJ Moore, 58 for Luther Burden. So we've been watching Luther Burden. Can he surpass Zacchaeus? And he's done that.
Yeah.
He may surpass DJ by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I want Rome real quick. Stress fracture in his foot. Sit him next week too.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
him.
I'm good with that.
Get.
I'm good with that.
There's been a production dip. He's been playing through something. Sit him next week. Tight ends.
Tight ends, you touched on it. Colston Loveland stepped up big. Cole Kmet, was decent. Another kind of gripe I had on the way that the routes were run on that concept. If you look at that last play, that boot rollout, Caleb rolling to his left, yes, Cole Kmet does flash open, but the problem is Caleb is still swiveling his hips. He hasn't quite, as you said, that's a tough play for a right-handed quarterback. He's got to sweep his hips to the right, set and fire, all on the move. Cole flashes open before that all happens, before Caleb has a chance to do that. But my problem with Cole is Cole takes the route very vertical, and it allows Nixon to get underneath him to get the pick. Cole should have flattened his route to allow Caleb to lead him a bit. He needs to flatten his route. If you look at some of the replays, Cole gets way too vertical and lets Nixon get right underneath him. So, again, it's easy for me to say. I'm sitting here, I'm drinking a beer.
I'm blaming DJ.
If DJ would have occupied Nixon, then Kmet would have been fine. I'll give him a B+.
Kmet is playing right now as maybe the premier blocking white tight end in the league, and that stuff doesn't appear on TV copy or like box scores. It is valuable. Cole Kmet makes $13 million. He's a prime cut candidate because all of his guaranteed money is gone, but has an incredibly valuable spot on this team in this run game. He is an extension candidate. What you would most likely do with Kmet is extend him 2 years at a lower number and get him down to 8 million, 7 million, something like that. And I think would probably consider that with just where he is, what he would end up making the open market and being from here. You kind of look at the guys that end up being part of. There are guys that come through the Bears and they leave. Jay Cutler. It's nothing to do with the Bears, right? Then there are guys that become part of the team and the family and the lore of it, right? Kmet's going to be a broad. Frankie and Owen will know Kmet in 10 years from being on TV. He's going to be around here for a long time. He's going to be one of those guys, right?
Yep.
I was pretty sure he wouldn't be on the team next year. I think he will be, and I think you extend him and lower that cap hit. I think he's played really well the last couple of weeks in a very physical manner. And the best play that Caleb Williams maybe has made in his freaking career was a rollout in the right to throw to Kmet down the field in the fourth quarter over his shoulder. Loveland is outside of Caleb and probably Wright, the most valuable player on this offense. He has overtaken Warren already. Even like statistically, he's right there with him. He's going to end up with better stats this year than Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
As far as like a young tight end in the league, I don't know if there's another one you'd rather have. The guy, he may be the focal point of this passing attack by the end of this year. He is awesome to watch every week. The first quarter, that was a little bit of a shame, right? But it's a freak show throw by Caleb. He's not even open. He's covered. He gets the ball, I think, knocked away or he drops it. But other than that, the guy's nails. And the only thing I worry about him is just like with that body type and the catches he makes is just taking big shots. Like I would like him to go down, a little bit.
Right.
But that's a tremendous. I was really pissed off when the Bears beat the Packers last year. I was with you when it happened. And it cost us 2 or 3 draft slots, and it cost us Kelvin Banks, the left tackle, for the Saints, but Komet ends up being a really good pick in that spot, where they took just the best guy available, and he's just a hell of a football player. So I give him B pluses. Offensive line, this is good. I'm gonna get to this.
Yeah, offensive line. Solid. Only gave up 1 sack. Caleb was on the run a lot, but they only gave up 1 sack. The running game was really solid, as we already talked about. 4.5 to 5 yards a carry, and really made that game competitive. And they were really being physical and nasty. So I've got them at a B plus.
They got the piss beat out of them in the first quarter, and really, really into the second quarter, and they stuck with it, and they chipped away, and they cracked that Packers defensive front, which is probably the most fearsome in the NFL. By the fourth quarter, they were moving the ball at will. When the Bears got the ball back down 21-28, did you have any doubt that they would be in a position to score? No.
No.
It was just a matter.
No.
I was texting you. I texted you, score, leave no time left, go for 2, live forever, right? And this is a new world for the Bears. The Bears move the ball at will in the second half, and that is the offensive line physically impose their will on that front, and that is a feared front seven the Packers have. Like, some of these guys may not be names because of the market. Micah Parsons is it's him and Garrett are the 2 best defensive players in the league. Rashawn Gary was on the front page of ESPN when he committed to Michigan. For his entire adult life, he's been a highly sought after defensive end, right? Lucas Van Ness is a top 12 pick from Barrington. He's looks like a pro wrestler. In the linebackers, Quay Walker from Georgia keyed several of those Kirby Smart championship teams. Edgerrin Cooper, their will is probably the finest young linebacker in the league. And Monungai took a piece off that guy, man.
Yeah.
He will remember that. Offensive line wise, one of the big takeaways is actually, do you know the second highest graded offensive lineman was? For them, take a guess.
Ozzy.
It was Ozzy.
That's awesome.
That's a
my gosh.
that's a really nice deal.
Dang.
Where this game, the ultimate difference in this game comes down to the fact that the Packers were able to rush the passer against the Bears offensive line, especially in the first half. And that first half was the margin of victory for them. The Bears were not able to rush the passer on the Packers offensive line. But the Bears offensive line was able to dictate their terms in the second half and impose their will, and that stuff carries over. So I'm going to give them an A, man. Not only are they the best offensive line in the league right now, they just are. There's a very good chance they maybe want to be one of the best units in the league. And there's no accident. That entire unit is made up of nothing but first and second round picks and highly paid players. And they're all playing to their draft status and their contracts. And there's depth too. So it's just a really fun thing to watch. Like I talked about it earlier, but there was a malevolent physicality and level of violence to that game of why we watch this game and why American football is the greatest sport on known to earth, man. There's nothing else that's a mix of physical combat and turn-based strategy. It's why we come back, and I'm really proud of that unit. So good for them, man. I keep it going, because next week, we get to it at the end, but next week's going to be actually a war for that unit. Defensive line.
D-line is going to be one of my lower graded units, along with the secondary, which we'll get to. But, you just didn't get enough pressure on Jordan Love. It's been a story as old as time for this team. Montez Sweat was really the only guy. He got his sack. I think he got a QB hit and a TFL. So he played a good game. The rest of the guys just weren't noticeable. I saw Olin Kreutz tweet something out about Grady Jarrett was getting pressure and he was looking good. He just didn't get enough. So I'm going to give him a C. Maybe even C minus.
The defensive line will be the limitation of how far this team can go. Montez Sweat is the only guy that's really able to get pressure on a consistent basis. The rest of them are pocket pushers, right? So they're just trying to collapse the pocket. Grady can do it a little bit, but he's like our age. Booker is best suited at this point in his career as a rotational guy. Dexter Dexter's going to be an interesting case. He's coming into his fourth year next year. You're going to have to figure out what you're going to pay him. He's a fine starting defensive tackle, but you'd really like a war daddy next to him, which is, we'll look at in the offseason. They're simply not talented enough and deep enough right now to generate pressure with four of them. So they're forced to blitz.
Linebackers. TJ Edwards played well. I think he was the highest graded defensive player, or one of them, for the Bears. He had.
The defense did not score particularly high. It was actually Nick McLeod.
Yeah, I see that.
Edwards ends up scoring third. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 4 tackles. I thought he looked pretty good. DeMarco Jackson, our guy, looked solid. Didn't notice Sewell much. Did you?
He only had one snap.
Really? Interesting.
The Packers only ran 53 snaps. The Bears ran like 80. So what that tells you is that, one, the Packers had explosive plays, but that the Bears actually had some success down to down.
Right.
Jacobs killed you a little bit. The play of that game ends up being that short yardage in the fourth quarter where Jacobs
Oh my
turns up a
gosh.
3-yard loss. Yeah. You got to make that play.
It was brutal.
There,
You had 3 guys there.
it'll be a big help. It'll be a big help to them to get Edmonds back. So, I mean, I think you probably have another week with him, but hopefully you get him back for that second game. But a nondescript day by the linebackers, considering the health, not all bad. Secondary.
Secondary was not good. Secondary, I mean, DA brought a lot of zero blitzes. And so they were kind of on an island there for a while. They had CJ Gardner, who looked great in the first half, kind of got beat a couple times in the second half, or at the end of the first half and then into the second half. You didn't have this kind of the story of the game. The early story of the game was Kyler Gordon being declared inactive with a groin injury during warmups. I mean, that's just terrible. Just again, him with the soft tissue injuries. Brisker got beat once. I think Jalen Johnson got mixed up in coverage once or twice. So I've got him at a C minus, D plus. They didn't play well.
Brady was highly critical of Jalen in that game, and there was detail stuff where, that's a tough part about playing secondary is like you blame Brisker on some of those downfield shots where he looks like he's getting burned, but it's actually because he's covering up because Jalen doesn't drop into his zone, right? So there's actually a handful of times where Johnson's either freelancing or whatever. Jalen Johnson, this is a new defense, and he's in like week 3. CJ Gardner actually has covered that up a little bit, and he brings an edge to the defense, which is welcome. Same thing with Brisker. Brisker grades really low out. If Brisker's guarding guys, defending guys downfield, you shouldn't be doing that structurally. What Brisker brings to you is a malevolent, violent force on the field and an intimidation factor because he has almost no regard for his own well-being. And you need some of that in the NFL, right?
Yep.
And it's somewhat hard to find. And also you kind of can't teach that. You have to bring that out, right? I think you texted me, is Brisker bad or is Brisker getting killed? And it's like, that's not his job.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see in 2 weeks what they do. I think if I'm DA and playing Jordan Love is instead of housing him and daring you to beat him downfield, I make him go 14 plays on me. And can
Exactly.
he keep his, yeah.
Why not do that? Because Jordan Love has shown it's a Jekyll and Hyde with him. Every so often, the bad Jordan Love is going to show up. And so just play the numbers game. Let it play itself out over a, like you said, 14, 15, 16 play drive. See what happens.
Saying that, I respect going down zero blitzing and giving up big plays than the Eberflus giving up 19 play drives that take up a whole quarter.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
like
I
there's
get it.
some
I
of
get it.
that.
What about this? What about the sim pressures against Jordan Love,
So a
or
sim
just or
pressure.
just or just or just showing pressure, showing blitz, and just dropping back?
The problem with that, a sim pressure, is the sim pressure means you're still only bringing four, but you're
Right.
just bringing it with a different combination of guys. They're not getting pressure. If you do a sim pressure, you're just not getting pressure. The only
CJ.
way they were getting pressure, yeah, but you're still sending four, and CJ Gardner Johnson isn't getting pressure. I mean, you're blitzing from depth then, and then the way you beat a blitz is you throw into it.
Right.
The way that you beat the way you're going to have to beat the Packers is one is that you get home on some of these blitzes, so you change up what you've been doing a little bit, or you show them something different, or two, you just have to have somebody show out.
Tremaine.
Sweat's
You
been
need
doing
Tremaine
it.
back. You need Tremaine back. You need Kyle. Ideally, you get Kyler back. Who knows if that's going to happen?
It comes down
Right.
to that. Johnson, get Jalen healthy. Gordon, I don't think you'll see Gordon again for the rest of the season. I would be very surprised. I don't think you can count on him, and they just need to send him to an island somewhere and get him rehabilitated.
Tremaine.
That unit, the other part of it is send the house and just jump balls and have Nashon get a couple, right?
Right.
We'll see. We'll see where it ends up in 2 weeks, but that's going to be the differences for these teams right now. But also the Packers max it out, right? If you did what they did and you had Max Crosby on the other side of Sweat, what does this look like? I don't know. Special teams.
Special teams. I mean, didn't wasn't great. I mean,
There's one thing. One thing.
didn't Cairo have a terrible kickoff? What? I didn't see that. So what happened with that?
Cairo has gotten like really good at something called the dirty kick,
Right.
where he's
Right.
doing. They've been doing these dirty long squib kicks, and I don't know what he did. He flubbed it or he shanked it or something, and he gave up a kickoff into the 40, and I think the Packers like instantly scored then after that. They were saying in the broadcast how he was like nails from 55 and his specialty is kicking in bad weather, and that's why you have him. I don't know. We'll see. Other than that, I would say pretty nondescript. Taylor did have a punt in the first quarter backed up that was like crazy. That was like flip the field. That was pretty nice. It looked like
Yeah.
they had a couple almost get blocked. Yeah, but other than that, pretty much nondescript. Coaching.
Coaching. Good overall. Da. You obviously made the point on why he's doing that with the zero blitz. I don't know that that would have been my strategy. Maybe once, maybe twice, but obviously Jordan Love's numbers are really good against the blitz, so I wasn't a fan of that. Ben Johnson, I thought, did a great job at halftime adjusting. Did not like the lack of the running game in the first half. There was way too many drives. I think the first three drives there was one run or something like that. So wasn't a fan of that. I'm okay with the play call at the end of the game. I get it. It's a boot rollout so that Caleb has an opportunity to either run it or throw it to multiple options. So I'll give coaching a B.
What you would see that's so much different is some of the quotes after the game on the Packers locker room. I'd encourage you to look at what Jacobs said about him
Yeah,
in
I
that.
heard that. Yep. That was good.
Summarize it for the listening audience, Nick.
He just said that the Bears look a lot different to him based on their coaching. And
It was a pretty big shot at some previous regimes, right?
yeah, yeah, and that the team, the Bears have clearly bought in to what Ben Johnson is coaching, and they're playing hard, and they're playing with that extra aggression and strain. And so that was cool.
Yeah, like he said something like, "Wow, yeah, it looks like they actually care. It looks like they know what they're doing, right?" Like even some of the Packer fans, like I know, all were kind of texting me or like communicating, like, "Oh man, this is different," and it is. And again, this team is early. These guys are all 21, 22, 23 years old. They all have their rookie contracts in front of them. Like it is hard to keep yourself focused on the macroscopic on this team, but like these guys are going to be around for a while and they're already doing this. I want to give a couple shout outs to some listeners real quick before we can go. Some out of state guys. So, hey, Charlie Fry, living in Packer territory. Thanks for the support. And if you guys follow him, he's picking winners. He's picking winners in derivative markets and money lines like every week. So go check out Charlie there. Rick Moncrief in Arizona. He's locking it down for us out west. Thank you, Rick. Keep it up. Go Bears.
Go Bears.